Welcome to Development Adelaide. This is episode number 6, where we'll be discussing the state budget of 2024 and 2025. Now, it's been a while since we've been on the air on YouTube, so it's great to be back doing these videos, and hopefully we can make more of these over the next coming months. So, like I said, today we're going to be talking about the state budget, what the new initiatives are, what are the existing projects and how they're tracking, where the money's all going to be going, and then we'll have a look at some interesting tidbits in the budget. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to be doing is looking at the new initiatives for the 2024-2025 financial year. And top of the rank is the Southeastern Freeway upgrade, which is at $200 million, quite an expensive project. What this will essentially do is upgrade the existing portion from the tollgate up to Crayfus and make it what's called a managed motorway with some things called intelligent transport systems. So that's going to be involving things like lane management signage. So those are the things you see on big gantries above the road, which tell you what speed and which lanes to use. And also a lot of monitoring in terms of traffic and everything to ensure that the road is used as best as possible. You can see some of these aspects already happening near the Hasten Tunnels, which is a project that's very close to completion. Next, we've got the Mount Barker and Verdun Junctions, which is a $150 million project. This is a bit of a comeback for this project. It was originally supposed to be access improvements for Harndorf, but then it evolved into other things. So at the moment, it's slated to give a new bridge across the freeway at Mount Barker and then an upgrade to Verdun Junctions, which allows cars to go in, access the freeway in both directions. So there'll be an extra on and extra off ramp for that intersection. Next, we've got some extra overtaking lanes on Main South Road with the cost of $31 million. That is 3 overtaking lanes in total between the towns of Normanville and Cape Jarvis. That will provide some extra safety for people going onto Kangaroo Island, including tourists and freight. The fourth item in this list is the Riverland Transport Resilience Planning project. This is a bit of a different project. It's sort of a plan to improve network resilience along the River Murray following the floods that occurred about 2 years ago. Next, we've got the Wynvale Drive upgrade, which is a bit of a small upgrade to some intersections along Wynvale Drive, and also some local roads in the northern suburbs. And that is all in line with some election commitments from the last election. Next on the list, we've got the Rail Network Extension Planning Package, which is a $10 million program to investigate passenger rail services to places like Concordia and Roseworthy. And I would also say Aldinga might be on that list as well, depending if they've done studies along that line or not. So that will be interesting. Next, the Northern Areas Growth Planning. So this is things like transport network improvements to support Adelaide's growing northern suburbs. There's a $5 million package for bus fleet decarbonisation, things like electric buses, hydrogen buses, some things which are already in trial, but this is going to be also looking at depot infrastructure to support that transition to net zero emissions in the public transport fleet. Next on the list is heavy vehicle rest area. This is a single rest area down at the Salt Creek area along the Princess Highway down in the Coorong region. $2 million for the rail fleet decarbonisation. So again, planning for things like battery or hydrogen motors on the old trains that we've got here along the Outer Harbour, Grange, Port Dock and Belair lines. And then $550,000 for the Alberton station to upgrade some things there. I can't imagine it being a big project. Again, it's probably things to do with heritage and preserving the station that's there at the moment. Okay, so now that we've looked at the new initiatives from the latest state budget, let's get into the top 10 existing projects. So these are the projects that are the 10 highest in value. And without guessing, you probably already know it's going to be the north-south corridor. So the Torrens River to Darlington section of the motorway. Now, the total cost of the project is $15.4 billion, which is huge, especially for a state like South Australia. Now, in the last budget, there was $704 million allocated, and they've spent about $686 million so far. So they've spent most of what they were planning to. In this current upcoming financial year, we've got $952 million allocated. Again, that's only 6% of the total project value, which is still low. So there's going to be some huge payments coming in future years. And as you probably already know, it's going to be a long time till this is finished. So completion at the moment is scheduled for December 2031. Next on the list is Flurio Connections. Now, that is the Main South Road and Victor Harbour Road upgrade that are happening in the south of the city. Total cost of these projects together is $810 million. And they've pretty much spent what they were planning to for this current financial year. And again, there'll be another $145 million next financial year. And that's going to be mostly stage 2 of Main South Road. So going from Aldinga to Sellicks Beach. Completion, probably another 2 years away. Following in from that, we've still got this project here, the Princess Highway Corridor. Now, this is a mixture of different projects from all around the state. I'm not too sure how they all fit together, but basically it's the Augusta Highway duplication, which is happening north of Port Wakefield after they've completed that overpass, which you can see in that image there. Total cost of the project, $667 million, a lot of money again, co-sponsored by the federal government. They've again spent around about the right amount in this financial year, and there's a small budget in the next period, mostly because a lot of those new additional projects to this will be in the planning stages. So not much construction happening with this. And again, construction will take a long time. June 2028 is the current completion time. And that includes things like landscaping. So not necessarily just road building, but also other things around the project. Again, this one's a little bit not sure where this project is. I've looked on the website and it says it's around about the Stewart Highway and Augusta Highway. So there's all these little projects along those freight corridors where they're doing things like shoulder widening, overtaking lanes, the things that are necessary for those roads to continue safely. At the moment, it's been on an ongoing budget of about $31 million every year. And this is a long-term project. So at this stage, they've got June 2033, which is way into the future at this stage. All right, next we've got the Marion and Crossroads tram crossing removal. This is still in the early stages of being constructed. Total budget for this is $400 million. They have spent a little bit more, probably mostly in relation to property acquisition, preparing, planning, getting everything ready. So they have overspent a little bit more, but that's probably just bringing things forward, getting things ready. And the next financial year, $45 million, again, only 11% at this stage. So again, mostly a lot of preparation work before the main construction starts. And this is estimated to be completed in around about June 2027. As I said before, we've got a lot of upgrades happening along the Southeastern Freeway. In total, that cost will be $350 million. They have spent a little bit more this financial year. And again, next year, there'll be another 19% estimated to be spent for this project. Such a thing as the managed motorway and other upgrades along the freeway. Completion at the moment is scheduled for June 2027 as well. And you'll see this date come up a few times. Next on the list, the Strzelecki track up north of the state, supporting things like mining operations and some other gas projects. Again, total cost of this is quite high. It's sealing a huge, long road. Parts of it which already been done. About half of it I've seen sort of from this map that I've got here on that page. So there's another whole lot of money coming through, another 16% of the total budget coming through next financial year. It was a little bit low this year, 23-24, but I'm assuming that's probably got something to do with materials not being ready, labour not being ready to actually build this project. So it is a very remote part of the state, so it's going to be difficult getting labour and other things to go there. Adelaide Hills projects. So one of the projects they've got there is the main road, some safety upgrades along the main road, which runs between Aberfoyle Park and Chandler's Hill. So a lot of safety projects in the Adelaide Hills. About $23 million happening in this financial year coming up. And again, completion, which again comes up a lot, June 2027 at this stage. Next on the list, Adelaide Aquatic Centre, another big project, $135 million. This was an election commitment from the last election in 2022. So the work will really ramp up in the next financial year. You can see 63% of the whole budget will be spent over the next financial year, and completion at the moment is next year, end of next year, so December 2025. Another project down in the southern suburbs is the Majors Road on-off ramps. This is a project that was, again, an election commitment, $120 million going towards this project, and quite a large amount coming into this project over the next year. Construction's already started, well underway to complete this project. It does say here June 2027, but I would say that the actual road openings, the actual on and off ramps opening will be much sooner than that. And a couple of other things here. You can see there are a couple of interesting points. The first one I want to mention is the Lefevre Peninsula upgrade. They've only spent $1.5 million on this project in this financial year. So yeah, I don't actually know what this project is. I haven't really seen a lot of information about what it is. So it would be great to see some more information. Again, the next financial year, only 2% of the project funds will be spent. So yeah, we'll have to see where this money goes to. Another project which is happening along Marion Road is intersection with Sir Donald Bradman Drive. This will really start ramping up very soon. They've already spent a lot of money on things like property acquisitions. You might have seen in the news things like Bolio on the intersection. Some other buildings have already been demolished, so this one is going underway, and I'm assuming there'll be a lot of construction happening over the next couple of months. There is also an upgrade happening down between Cape Jarvis and Peneshore. Those ports for the ferries will be upgraded. $50 million next financial year, 86% of the whole budget. So things will, I'm assuming, really ramp up in that time. Port Dock Rail line will obviously become operational in a couple of weeks. August 25 is what I've heard in the news. So that will come to completion very, very soon. Lots of small things like landscaping will still be done, and at the moment the completion is 2026, June 2026. There is still a little bit of money for the Highmarsh Stadium upgrade. Not too sure what they're actually going to be doing, but it says here $2.1 million. Not a huge amount, but it looks complete to me, so I'm not too sure what's going to be happening there. Something to watch out for. Mount Barker upgrade was interesting because there was quite a small amount spent this year, and again, haven't seen a lot of information about this, so that'll be something to keep an eye on. Mike Tudor Bikeway, it's been in the news as well over the last couple of months. Originally, there was supposed to be a bridge over the rail line along the tram line, but that's now being changed because of community feedback that they've got. So, it'd be interesting to see how this project will actually be received by the community, considering it's turned from a huge project into a very small project. So that'll be interesting to see. Next on the list, Gawler Line Station refresh. They were going to spend $2.5 million this financial year. It won't be that much, 20% maybe, but they're hoping that next financial year they'll spend $2.8 million. Again, not sure of the details on this one, so that'll be something to watch out for. Automated train protection on the Seaford line. Again, we're supposed to really get into motion this year, but it hasn't happened. So they're going to keep going next year with this project. Yeah, and the much mooted Adelaide Hills Express service. This is all investment costs. So I'm assuming this would be things like new buses, acquiring them, upgrading them if needs be to get them up the freeway. So this would be something to watch out for. 60% of that project will be allocated next financial year. So I'm assuming that some of those buses will start rolling off. Okay, now that we've looked at all the different places where the money is going, let's have a look and see how the network is performing at the moment. So, one of the great things the state budget does do is provide really good insights as to patronage and assets for the public transport network. So, the first thing I want to focus on is the boardings. So, boardings have gone up a total of 7.9 million passengers between 23 and 23-24. So they have gone up. There has been a recovery from COVID, but it's not as much as they were expecting. So there's still some way to go to get it back to the level it was before the pandemic. So that's includes free travel, which actually decreased a little bit in this financial year. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of strategies the government will employ to get more people back onto public transport. When we look at things like assets, so in total, the government was expecting to have an extra 15 buses on their roster in the network, but unfortunately, it's only been an increase of 2 buses for the year. So that could be things like delivery delays for buses, among other things. So hopefully that can be increased. They're expecting an extra 15 buses from the amount it is today over the next financial year. So let's hope they can keep to that and they can deliver more buses and have them on the road as soon as possible. One thing I found really interesting was the train figures. So obviously we've had more electric trains come online, an extra 15 cars, which equivalent is in a 3-car set. It's about 5 trains in total. So the last 5 trains were delivered in that period. But when you look at the next financial year, they're looking at a decrease of 20 cars. Now, I'm going to assume that's the 3000 class. There's a few that won't be upgraded to the new hybrid engines. So some of those that are staying the old diesel will probably be scrapped. So that's a total of 20 of those cars, which will be interesting. With trams, obviously nothing's happening in terms of new assets, new trams at the moment. So those figures are all staying the same. So that's what's happening in terms of the network. So that's all the information I've got for you today from the latest state budget. Was really interested to delve into the data, find where the money's being spent and how everything's performing. Hopefully you got something out of this video, just like I did with that data. Again, thank you for watching. Appreciate you sticking by me while I haven't been doing any videos in person. So I'm hoping that this will ramp up over the next couple of months. More videos, more information about Adelaide and transport and infrastructure. If you do want to see more about other things like hospitals, schools, please let me know in the comments or message me, and I'll try to incorporate some of the feedback in the next budget video. And hopefully we can get some of this information out to you guys about what's happening. So thanks again for watching and see you next time. Bye for now.